Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome to a bit of Company of Heroes 2. This game I've been playing and trying to actually get good at. Basically, I sort of like the sort of setting and the idea behind these games, Company of Heroes games, but I kind of want to get in on it sort of earlier on because Relic has a very bad track record of ruining games, and they've already put out an expansion for this, which I think is a little bit disconcerting because it's two more factions basically. It's Oberkommando West and the U.S. armies. And you can actually see that the U.S. over here, they're sort of doing their thing. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the fog of war so that I can show you over here. We got the basic Germans over here, and we got the Oberkommando West over here. And everyone sort of works very differently in this game, and I think that Relic has a very bad track record of keeping games balanced as they sort of progress through. I don't actually feel as though the Americans and the Oberkommando West are necessarily too out of bounds, but I do definitely feel like they're sort of giving sort of the newer factions unique mechanics that are hard to match with the current existing factions. Like, for example, the Oberkommando West, instead of starting with basic infantry, starts with these Sturm Pioneers, which everyone else starts with basic engineers. And the Sturm Pioneer squads have a nice little SMG and are capable of destroying a lot of everything. And at the same time, they've also got a starting vehicle. And as far as I know, no one else in the game starts with a vehicle. I don't think the United States does either. We're going to go actually check that out. I think it was Grim over here. Yeah. So let's go check what they've got over here. Yeah, no, they can't actually start with the vehicle either, and their vehicle also is an ambulance. Actually, maybe they can't start with the ambulance. The ambulance doesn't really count because obviously you don't fight with that, so that doesn't really work for them. So it kind of ends up being this weird state where the new factions have these sort of weird options that everyone else does not. For example, as well, for instance, the United States, they don't have to keep their troops at home. They've also got an excellent sort of static turret unit that they can build. And it makes sort of the older factions feel like they're sort of falling a little bit behind. The expansions for the actual basic Germans seem like they are keeping them quite strong just because of the way their doctrines work as compared to the Soviet doctrines, but I think that definitely the new factions, while maybe not as necessarily super more powerful, do definitely have more options than the existing factions, which I think is a bad thing. So, you know, because this is very much a game about options. The more options that you've got, the better you're going to generally do. So you can see here this sort of Kubel wagon is going to get blown up by all this rifle fire, but that's only because he's like severely mismanaging it, getting it stuck between three different. Oh no, he's repairing it. Well, whatever. Either way, so over here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep and hold this point in the sort of middle north here, while everyone sort of else getting dug in, overrun, or what have you. Over here you can see definitely the Germans are getting ready to sort of dig in. They've got their reinforcement point built up over here. My reinforcement point all the way back here, I can't even build a forward one. Both the Allies and the Germans can build forward reinforcement points. The Soviets can't. Both varieties of Germans can actually do that, so it's not really anything too new. I'm just going to come in around the flank here to try and help my allies out a little bit, but they've got these foxholes that they've got built up, so those are going to be able to help contend this point a little bit. I've got my guys that I'm going to try and get here, just try and get some flanking fire, and I'm going to try and get some vision for my everybody up here with these guys, these conscripts. So the combination between these conscripts and these ones on the flank should be able to get a little bit of pressure done, but they've got this mortar up here, so I'm bringing up my own mortar because they've got all these troops heavily entrenched here. I think I lost my engineers because I think I wanted to run them up here to check, and they ran into some grenadiers who were vastly superior to engineers as it should be, but down to the south here you've got these guys sort of positioned in a pretty okay position to try and repel a counterattack from these American forces here. The American riflemen, okay, they're not great. Personally, I think that the conscripts, I actually like them a little bit better because the options that they have sort of fit the what you want these guys to be doing. Here you can see like that mortar fire from both the mortars on their side and the ones on our side have really sort of wreaked havoc. I think that my mortar lands in there but doesn't land anything. I'm actually like sort of by myself here with this mortar now that they've driven off all that infantry and they've actually retreated all the troops away from there, so I'm aiming at nothing anymore. I've got riflemen here fighting at these grenadiers. I've got these sandbag defenses, which is actually pretty good compared to this house. It's not much different, so we can actually cope with that. So basically, yeah, I like World War II sort of games and that sort of situation and all that other jazz, but there's not a whole lot that I can necessarily get out of this game in particular, just because, you know, I'm not actually buying any of the DLC for it. I just sort of refuse to, and I'm not particularly good at this game because I haven't had a lot of practice at it, so I actually play a lot of games and I lose most of them, but this one is one of those ones where I sort of managed to pull together and figure things out a little bit. Now, up here, there's just a ton of fortification going on. They're trenching in, they're building forward rally points, which is going to help them build up their troops numbers quite rapidly. Over here, I have to retreat my conscripts. I forget if I do or not, but I've got Molotovs now, which could potentially help me take that house. And over here, 2 SDKFZs, which is a very early game, sort of very early game tank for the Germans. So they're going to be able to take this area. I've managed to hold them off for quite some time, but not quite as long as I would like to. But at the same time, I've also got anti-tank grenades researching over here, which is going to let me take those out very easily. Soviet anti-tank grenades are probably one of the better early game anti-tank options, other than the Panzerfaust, which is on these grenadier squads. The Panzerfaust is obviously really good because it's got much better range, much better travel speed on the projectile, and yeah, sometimes something like that happens from those lovely things. So what's going to happen is that this guy, though, is going to get too close with these SDKFZs to try and wipe out my infantry that are sitting on this point, and I'm going to get a chance to huck some grenades at these guys. So yeah, since I didn't run away immediately, he should have just run away with these guys. Out of control, you know, screwed. So that vehicle is now down, and I killed it with just a conscript squad. So that, you know, very good situation for me. I'm able to get these guys over here, and he's going to try and overrun my infantry yet again, which is another mistake, because I'm going to hit this one with another one. And the rifles are going to be able to finish it off, along with that little bit of mortar fire there. So yeah, this 2 conscript squads still alive, even with a bit of veterancy, that have managed to take out 2 of these fairly expensive early game tanks for the Germans. And the thing about this game is it's a little bit weird. Unlike most games, if you set up early game tanks, you're going to end up in a situation where you're losing a lot of points very quickly, because like these half-tracks and stuff like that cost this fuel resource, and when you're spending this fuel resource, you're not saving it up for better tanks. What I'm doing, on the other hand, I've replenished my combat engineer squad. I've gotten another one, and that's going to give me a chance to build a tank battalion headquarters sort of thing, which is going to let me sort of build an actual tank as opposed to these sort of half-tracks that these Germans are putting out onto the field. And the half-tracks, as good as they are not really going to be what you want to use. Here they've got a half-track full of troops here that they're running onto this point. And I'm going to try and counterattack it and find that they've got a machine gun in this house here. I don't actually have a vision of that if I check Fog of War, so you know, I didn't know that that's what was going on. But in any event, I can still use Ura, which is going to let my troops move up rapidly without being pinned by the machine gun. And try to throw a grenade at this half-track, but they're going to stop me from doing that, so I'm going to have to run away here. We do manage to land a grenade in there, but or a mortar round in there, but I do have to retreat because of the actual sort of Panzer Grenadiers, which are a very high-quality German troop. The weird thing about the Soviets is that you can't actually build any of their high-quality troops off the bat. All you can build are conscripts as their infantry, and then you can build special weapon squads. The only actual sort of special troops that you can build come from your doctrines, which is a huge disadvantage for them, but it sort of means that you have to sort of specialize. Because you can either basically have the Guards rifles, or you can have the shock troopers. Guards rifles are good at taking out light vehicles, but they can't actually take out tanks. And shock troopers are good only at taking out heavy vehicles, or sorry, heavy infantry pushes. So I take a grenade there because I was microing or paying attention to something else at the time. So that's what happened there, and that sort of screws me over. And I'm getting pressed back very hard over here. I need sight for a little bit while longer, which is why I'm letting this unit basically get wiped out before I run it. And then I come in with a fresh replacement of conscripts. I think that this would probably be better if like conscripts were cheaper or something. I don't really know, but like I think it's sort of weird because like all I have are conscripts, and I can't really do anything to get a better quality troop type. So here the opponent's got this PaK 40 7.5mm. which is bad for me because I've got a T-70 coming out pretty soon, or I might have it coming out already. Not really sure, but in any event, I've managed to drive away a lot of these guys, and I see the grenade this time, so I managed to retreat my troops from it before it manages to take me out or anything like that. And I'm still going to be pushing forward with the stuff that I've got over here. We've been overrun over down here, but we've gotten a bit of a counterattack with these American troops here. They've also got these sort of riflemen and very mediocre troops, and they sort of also rely on doctrines to get the elite guys out, if I recall. But I think they've got a few more options as far as that goes, because their basic riflemen can be equipped with bazookas, machine guns, any of that stuff. The conscripts come with Molotov cocktails and RPG-43 anti-tank grenades, both of which will do the job. It's just that both of them are very, very short range. They've got kind of that active timer instead of instantly firing, and they're just sort of meh as far as actually not getting destroyed by certain things. I think that we managed to destroy this thing with the American half-track is able to run it down, and we're able to recapture this point up here, and we're going to start to be able to swing the battle from the north, sort of inward. If I recall, we even maybe take this, I think. But at this point in time, I've got this T-70 light tank, and I've noticed that they've been using a lot of their fuel, and we did just take out their anti-tank gun. So I kind of figure that I can get a bit of free reign with this thing, even though I do know that I'm going to have to watch out for Panzerfausts. The reason there being that the Panzerfaust is the German sort of anti-tank weapon that they get on their squads, like I get the anti-tank grenades. So since I get these, they get Panzerfaust. Panzerfausts are just sort of more reliable. I do feel like the anti-tank grenades might actually deal a little bit more damage sometimes, but I'm not sure about that. In any event, you know, I complain a lot about some of the things that the Russian army lacks in this game, and I have pretty good reason to sort of be unhappy about sort of the deficiencies in the Russians in this game. But you know, like, it's not so bad that I find them unwinnable or anything like that. I definitely think that's not the case. But in any event, I get my tank behind here to. I managed to get some hits off against this bunker here, which they've got set up. That's basically going to be like impossible to get through with infantry, but at the same time, I'm also taking out like all this other stuff here. So yeah, this little T-70 here has already destroyed quite a lot of their stuff. T-70s are actually an anti-infantry tank in this game. Their little 45mm turret is only good for killing infantry in this, but I managed to sweep through here and take out a bunker. Actually, I take out like 4 bunkers basically, and I also take out all their mortars that they've got around back, which is a big commitment on their part to have gotten that. They've, on the other hand, got some Panzer Grenadiers with bazookas, or actually rather Panzerschrecks. Panzerschrecks are the non-disposable version of the Panzerfaust. It's based off the American bazooka design. The irony being that they probably got the design for the Panzerschreck from the Russians, so, you know, that kind of goes to show the historicity of this game, where the Russians have no anti-tank, but you know, it is what it is. We've got a counterattack coming in here of these Grenadiers. These Grenadiers are going to probably use their Panzerfausts to take out this tank. Whose are these? That's Pampiano. So if we look at Pampiano, as opposed to fish boobs over there, we look over here, yeah, they've got these rifle grenades and they've got Panzerfausts, and that basically lets their troops take out much heavier sort of vehicles, and also their grenade has much longer range than the comparable conscripts. The thing is that they have 4 strong unit. It's just that they also happen to have a unit which has like superior stats for pound, so they don't actually suffer from the lower numbers. It ends up being sort of an even thing on both sides. So anyway, we're going to switch over to my view again. You can see that I'm really trying to slam the Germans over here. They've got this bunker that's not really designed for anything, and I'm going to manage to take that out pretty easily. This little T-70 has done godly amounts of work for a light tank like that, so that's kudos to it. At this point in time, though, I think I can just about afford a T-34, which is the workhorse of the Russian artillery, or the Russian tank army. Oh, god damn it. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so yeah, this little T-70 has actually done like an ungodly amount of work here, and like the T-70 is one of the big reasons that the Russians are actually still competitive, despite all those things that I've been complaining about the deficiencies because, like, early game, it's very hard for the Germans, if I rush out a T-70, for them to directly counter it, because the German army relies on those sort of lighter weapons to kill their tanks, kill the Russian tanks, and like they don't have as many dedicated anti-tank squads yet, like the Panzer Grenadiers with the Panzerfaust upgrade. Those will like shred through a T-70 no problem, but the ones that they're using right now, like they aren't going to do much. They've got the Stug now, which is going to definitely be good against my tanks here, but you're going to see like these Americans trying to fire their bazookas at it, not doing a whole hell of a lot. I've got these Guards riflesmen doing a little bit of damage to it too, but they're also not doing... Actually, no, they're shooting at this for some damn reason. But anyway, like, the actual armor on a Stug is quite substantial, but I'm limping back with this, like, Hero T-70 over here because it's done an ungodly amount of work here. And we're actually going to Molotov some infantry here from really good positions, and that's going to cause endless problems for these German forces. I've killed a lot of Germans for the value that I've got here, because these conscripts much cheaper than the units that they're taking out. Over here we've got like a Panzer Grenadier fleeing with only one man left, and we've got these Grenadiers over here. So yeah, we've managed to do some good there, even though we outnumber them a little bit. But in any event, we've got our T-70 out now. T-70, T-34, sorry, /76. So it's got the 76 caliber gun. You actually want the 88, or is it the 86? But you can't get those without specific doctrines. In this particular build, I've got the ISU 152 here. So I've managed to hit the rear armor of that half-track over there. That's going to be good. And I'm also going to hit the Stug on the side here, and that's going to cause the ship to... cause them to abandon crew there. So yeah, they're now abandoned, and what's going to actually happen is I'm going to manage to take my Guards over here, and I'm going to capture it. But this half-track over here is completely and utterly screwed. And this T-34 is just going to roll straight over these guys. We got a lot of momentum, which let me rush that T-34. And that T-70 allowed us to get a lot of that momentum, just wiping out so many of his guys that we managed to just really put a damper on their plans, especially because we took out that forward outpost. The Germans have those forward outposts that let them use that as a rally point, which means that their troops over here can just sort of replenish their numbers. You can see these units going back up to full strength from this bunker here, which is kind of bullshit. They should not be able to do that in all honesty, but they do, so, you know, that's how they sort of operate. And similarly, if you're the Oberkommando West, you can use this battle group camp headquarters here as a rally point in addition to using it to produce units, so that's a really good way to do it. They've got a Panther here. It should not actually be... It's not a Panzerkampfwagen 5. That's not actually what they were called. They were called the Panzer Panther. But, you know, whatever. So here's a captured Stug that I've got. I do actually think that the Stug is worse than the Su-85 that the Soviets get. The problem with the Su is that it's ridiculously expensive, so they're very hard to get in any sort of numbers, and they're even slower than the Stug is, so they've got difficulty traversing the turrets to get a good shot at the German armor. And of course, you also have difficulty protecting it since you've got very few submachine gun armed troops. They just tend to swarm it with Panzer Grenadiers, and you sort of end up getting screwed that way. But that's sort of the way the game goes. It's very, very meh that way. So over here we've got an Assault Grenadier squad. Assault Grenadier squads can do jack shit and all against a tank, so he's forced to run them away. And I'm actually going to bring my T-70 up here to sort of go mess with this infantry here. The T-34 is designed for being okay against infantry and okay against tanks. So it's not going to do great against those lighter infantry there. But I'm going to run it right into there along with this T-70 coming around the flank here. So, you know, with the T-34 and the T-70, they're basically in trouble here. I'm actually going to reverse this, like, to try and chase them a long-ass way across, because every troop that I kill here, even if they make it back to base alive, they have to pay to replenish that unit. So I'm getting experience points, and I'm also killing some of their units when I get hits there. So, yeah, this T-70's managed to do a lot of good here. And I'm actually going to be able to capture points with it now, since it's Veteran C2. I've actually got the ability to secure mode, so I can secure points with it. But the Germans have started to get a real ball going here. They've got a real blob. I've got another T-34 though, so it's going to join the front here along with my other T-34 and my own infantry blob. Infantry blobs are a primarily German thing. The Russian forces can't really infantry blob, and neither can the Americans as effectively. Well, they can, but just not as effectively. The thing is that if you're playing as the Germans, these troops are very durable, so they don't die when they're getting hit by these flamethrowers like this necessarily all that quickly. And also, like, these troops are... So yeah, they managed to wipe out 2 flamethrower using squads from like point-blank range. They also have a good mixture of short-range weaponry, which lets them get away with those sorts of fights. But you can see them sort of managing to run away here. I'm getting my T-34 into the fight now. It's not necessarily a good idea since you can see them hitting it a little bit with these troops here. I'm going to get a lot of points though for hitting these guys with my T-34 and getting a kill there. So it's also good, also bad. So they're going to get a couple of other shots off. Front armor hits, though, against a T-34. Like, one of the weird things about this game is that they give the T-34 very bad front armor for some reason. They're actually supposed to be tougher from the front than a Panzer IV, but that's not really how they portray it in-game. The reason that the T-34 was better armored from the front, and so it was actually a little bit better armored compared to the Panther as well. The reason was that the Germans were using this sloped armor, whereas the Russians were not using the slope. Here that captured Stug is getting some good side shots and rear shots against this lovely little Panzer V there. Although that should not be called a Panzer V, that's quite literally not what that is. But it's going to get wiped out by the... I think the Germans end up killing their own tank just so that we can't get it, but this is going to be a problem. They've got 5 stars there, so fortunately they all get killed, because that is just too much. My tank manages to go out of control, explode, but that's fine. This unit is also pretty much wiped out, so over here I've got my T-70. I need to get it out of there so I can have it go over here and wipe all that out, but I picked up an American Browning. Either way, at this point in time though, I'm just trying to keep my armor healthy that I've got. If the enemy comes in with like a Tiger King or something, I'm going to be in some serious shit, so I need to make sure that I've got enough armor to deal with that. I have got access to the ISU 152 Heavy Assault Gun. The ISU can kill a Panther, and in one shot. There I got a nice artillery barrage there, but yeah, lovely. But yeah, I need something that is capable of handling a Panzer Tiger or a Tiger King or anything like that, so I need to make sure that my armor stays in the fight. So here I've got my tank getting over there. It wipes out that Panzer with a nice rear shot, critical hit basically sort of thing. And I'm going to actually get my T-70 around over here to take out this anti-tank gun before it takes out my T-34. There we go. Yeah, it literally gets run over by my T-70. Perfect. So, yeah, we're doing pretty well at this point in time. My mortar crew over here, which has just been sort of bombarding random shit, is back sort of in danger here if these guys sort of come across it. I think they actually do, and I have to retreat these guys, but, you know, whatever. I think, though, I managed to get some shots off against them first. Maybe not. Might be busy elsewhere. Over here, my T-34 is going to get destroyed. Yeah, so I sort of wasn't paying attention to these guys, but... Oh no, I managed to kill them, and yeah, they surrender at this point, so that was a victory. It's fairly rare for me to get a victory, but, you know, when you've got sort of good allies as well, you can sort of leverage those advantages that you've got, like that early T-70 really helped out when I was able to use those anti-tank grenades effectively. I was able to sort of wipe out that early advantage that the Germans tend to get. It's very, very possible for the Germans to end up with this very insurmountable advantage in the early game because they'll end up with a huge number of basic infantry running around like they've got sort of here, backed by a couple of those flak-armed tanks that just wipe through infantry squads for free. So until you've got some sort of anti-tank capability, they just sort of roll all over me, I find. So, you know, I have to get those anti-tank grenades fairly early, and I got them just in time in this particular case. Anyway, that was a playthrough of Company of Heroes 2. I'll be doing a little bit more of this as I try to learn more about it. I do, in fact, lose most of these games, so I'm mostly just cherry-picking the ones that I win, just to warn you ahead of time, I'm not actually very good at this game. But anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable, and of course, as always, I hope to see you all next time.